Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Sicilian Corner podcast. I'm Mike. Lou is in the studio pushing the right buttons. Lou, how you doing, buddy?
We hope we're pushing the right buttons.
Well, you do a pretty good job with it. This week, you had a special project you were working on, and man, I'll tell you, you lost me. The first paragraph, Wayne, I didn't even know what the hell he was talking about. So he does his thing. Done. I do my thing. Yeah. You know, I was just thinking, and first of all, I want to welcome a very dear friend, someone that I met in 1998 when I became a member of the Alfio Society, and someone that I worked very, very closely with for many, many years, whether it be feast chairman or whatever the case. We all wore multiple hats, and you know something, it's a pleasure. Wayne Peters, everybody. Welcome on board.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
This is the first show that I think in 25 years, it'll be 25 years, December 4th, that I have no notes. I have nothing written down.
I couldn't believe it when I asked you a little while ago. I said, where are your notes?
Don't get me going about the internet, please. Don't get me going about customer service, because you know something? It's freaking dead. Dead.
Oh, yeah.
D-E-A-D. But throw dirt over me, dead.
Don't you know how to type and type and then print and have papers and backup?
I like to do background. I have a system. I can't do half.
Sometimes you have to deviate from
no deviation. No.
That's one thing I've learned about you over the years, over the 27 years. You don't deviate.
No bends, no twists, no nothing. Just like 93 or Route 89 when you're going to Vermont.
Mikey's not flexible? Is that what you're telling me?
It's a fault. It's a fault. But I am so freaking annoyed.
My mother had an old saying. She used to say, people like him, tabadosta.
Yeah,
tough head. Thick head.
Thick head. Hey, listen, your mom, what was your mother's maiden name?
Laratonda.
Laratonda. Yeah. I was trying to think of it. And she was Italian. Your dad was?
My dad was Lebanese.
And they got along pretty good.
Absolutely. Yeah. Except when they first were, my mother told me the story many times. When they were planning on getting married, my father, like I said, was Lebanese. He was going to St. Anthony's Church.
Yeah. And
my mother was Holy Rosary Church. So when they were planning the ceremony, so the parents were talking and the priests were talking, and my mother says, we're going to be married at Holy Rosary Church. And the pastor at St. Anthony says, oh, no, you're not. You're getting married at St. Anthony's. And my mother says, no, we're getting married at Holy Rosary.
Gonna have a rumble. So,
she told me there was almost no wedding. There was
over
that. So what they had a compromise. The compromise was that the pastor from St. Anthony's came down to Holy Rosary, and him and the pastor at Holy Rosary co-celebrated the marriage. That was the
See, my daughter had 3 ceremonies. That's the way they take care of it today. Can't agree? Let's do 2 or 3.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Really?
But in those days, I mean, this it's what they tell me. That was rare to do something like that. And especially for a Lebanese person to go and get married in an Italian church, it was unheard of, what she was telling me during those days.
But when it came to living in the neighborhood, your mother won out because she was in an Italian neighborhood. On the peripheral edge, but
right on the edge. Right on the edge.
Yes. Haverhill Street.
Haverhill Street, yes. Yeah. Haverhill, Jackson Street, and just a little further down, a couple of streets down, was the Lebanese section. And it was a wonderful days. I mean, we had great times in that neighborhood.
I imagine, because Mikey talks about living in an Irish neighborhood. I imagine at those times in Lawrence, the neighborhoods were pretty clearly defined.
Right. Yeah. That was South Lawrence. South Lawrence. That's where he was from. Right.
There was nobody's last name ended in a vowel.
Right.
I'm going to tell you that
Started
now.
in a vowel.
Between the Murphys and the Gallaghers and Sullivans.
Right. Yeah. Like you said, the city was basically divided. Italian section, Lebanese section, Irish section. Definitely. Most definitely.
And it was great. It was nice.
It was great. Yeah, absolutely.
Because the neighborhoods, you know, you've heard me say this before in the Yale, Lou. You'd go out with a young lady, and she'd take you home, and you'd have supper that night with them, and it could be Irish food,
Right.
and you'd have a nice meal.
That's
A
unfortunate.
couple of weeks later, you're going out with a German gal, and you'd have German food. I
Right.
mean, it was beautiful.
Absolutely.
Nice.
It was a beautiful thing. And, when they came in with urban renewal, and that really affected
Huh.
your neighborhood, where
My business.
Yeah.
It ruined me.
it ruined it.
Yeah.
They destroyed it. They
Yeah.
just wiped it completely off the map.
Right.
And to what gain?
And I knew nothing of it. When I bought the business, I knew nothing of it.
In the name of the business, once again, for those with a certain age,
Eddie's Variety on Jackson Street, 91 Jackson Street,
right at the corner.
right at the corner of Jackson and Oak Street. Yeah. So when I
Wow.
bought I was working there because I lived around the corner, and I was working there part-time when I was going to high school. When I was 14,
Where did you go to high school?
Central Catholic.
You went to Central?
So I was working there part-time, at nights, after school nights. And then once I graduated,
It was a neighborhood. type.
it was a neighborhood store. That's all there was in Lawrence at that time. All corner neighborhood stores. It was a variety store.
Joe and Ann's.
Yeah, Petralia's, things, all different ones. And so when I graduated high school, I went to work full-time for Raytheon. After I went to college for a short time, then I got a job at Raytheon. And then shortly after that, about less than a year after that, the owner of Eddie's Variety, he said to me one night, he says, "Hey, can I talk to you?" And I said, "Sure." He says, "I'm thinking of selling the business." And he says, "I want to, I really like you. We get along good. You've been with me for a long time. I want to offer to you."
And you've
for-"
always had people skills.
Yeah. And he says, I want to offer to you first before I offer to anybody else. So again, I didn't have that kind of money. So I went home. I talked to my mother and my father. We talked about it, and they knew him
You should
very
have called
well.
your good friend Tommy Zappler. He would have funded it.
And so we did it. And like I said, like urban renewal, a few years later, I don't remember exactly how many years later it was, but directly across the street for 6 blocks, they tore everything down.
Everything.
It was all 3 tenements houses, all there.
Oh, yeah.
And that was
Oh, it's all your
that was
walk-in
all
trade.
all my business was
Yeah.
there. And within a few years, it was all gone. All gone.
What year was this, approximately?
Well, I bought the store in 1975. So it had to be in the early 80s. It had to be around 80.
And that's
1980.
exactly when all the demolition went on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
between White Street and,
Yeah, exactly. But again, sometimes things happen for a reason, and certain good things came of it. And I think I might have told you this at one time. So my father-in-law had a piece of land right down all the way down Jackson Street on Howe Street, but you go straight down Jackson Street, get on Howe Street. He had a piece of land there for a number of years, and one day he says, "If you ever want to build a house, I'll give you that.
No
I'll give
way.
you a piece of land there." So I had owned a house in Methuen already. So we thought about it. We were doing well. This is before urban renewal. Maybe someday. So when this urban renewal started, I decided, okay, I'm gonna do it, not knowing how business was going to be affected. So this guy came in that was running the urban renewal across the street. They all come in for sandwiches, drinks during the day.
You made sandwiches too?
Oh yeah. So he came in and we got to be friendly. This guy that was in charge of the project manager. So, and I see the trucks going in and out of there all day, taking the dirt out. And they were bringing the dirt to Haverhill every day, truckloads every day. So one day I says to him, where are these truckloads going? He said, you got to go all the way to Haverhill. What a pain in the neck, he says. So I says to him, can I talk to you for a second?
I got a piece of land that dips.
So really, I says, I've got a piece of land that I'm trying to build on. And it goes on an angle, basically.
Yeah.
I've got to try to level it off so I can at least put a house there. So he says, can I go? I want to go take a look at it? Yeah. I said, you got some time? He says, sure. I let my father stay at the store, watch the store. We got my car. We went down there. He looked at it. He says, how many loads you think you're going to need? I says, I have no idea. I'm not a contractor. I have no idea. He says, you're going to need quite a bit. Just by looking at it, you're going to need quite a bit. So he says, I'll tell you what. He says, you give me $1,000 cash, and I'll
Wow.
bring you as much fill as you want.
Wow.
You tell me when to stop,
Oh,
and I'll stop. I said, okay, no problem. I says, but every once in a while, when you get to like 6 or 7 loads, I've got to get a bulldozer in there, and they've got to spread it, obviously, because you got to just drop it and spread it. So he says, no problem. You just tell me when to stop. He says, you're going to be saving me a lot, because now I only have to go 2 miles down the road instead of going all the way to Haverhill.
Yeah.
Well, he must have dropped 500 loads.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Seriously?
We leveled off that it was 3/4 of an acre. We made it almost level.
God bless Massachusetts.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Not bad
But
for
something,
$1,000.
it benefited him.
Absolutely, it
Yeah,
saved
to the
him.
point
It
where- In
saved
more
him
ways
a lot
than
of
one.
time. It saved him a lot of
Yeah.
time. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Is that property still there? Is there a house on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Every time you go by there, what do you think?
Good memories. I think of that story.
How
That's
many
why-
how many children did you and your first wife have?
4.
4.
Yeah.
Well, time goes on, and
Time goes on.
sometimes you shake your head and say, "I wish I could have."
Exactly. Yeah.
But
you know what?
you took the bull by the horns.
You can't look back. All you can do is look forward. Move forward.
One thing I learned a long time ago, when you have something in your head and you're proposing it, and you say, "I don't think they're ever going to go for this," but the worst thing that can happen to you is they say no.
Right.
And something, if you got your pants on right, you can accept that. You can accept it. Say, okay, next time, and walk away. And when something happens that, you pulled that out of, you hadn't been thinking about that.
Right. Not at all.
That came out of your cooler.
Right.
And, something.
That's why I said things happen sometimes for the worst, but a lot of good things come out of it sometimes that you never expect.
No question about that. There's certain things that happen in your life when you turn around and you have a few minutes and you're by yourself and you start thinking and you start to laugh and you say, did I really do that?
To this day, I still have dreams at night about being behind the counter and running the store. To this day, this is almost 50 years later. I had so many great friends and people that it was like it turned into like a hangout. People just came down there and they just hung around, and I had
Those
coffee
pieces
and
those places were such a big part of neighborhood life. People loved them everywhere.
right.
Everyone had their neighborhood store growing up.
Yep.
Especially as kids, you'd go take your bike and go ride, buy baseball cards or
Yep.
something.
Yeah. Just to hang out, and they'd hang out outside, inside. We had so many laughs, and these are older people, older guys too. At that time, I was only in my 20s when I first bought the store. Yeah, okay. I was only, I don't know, I'll do the math. I must have been 24 or something like that when I bought the store. But the guys that used to come in the store, they were in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and I had some great friends, a lot of great relationships with these guys, and so many laughs because you know how I am. I get along with everybody.
Yeah, really. You do. You can walk that line.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Sometimes I have a hard time with that.
Yeah,
but
we're dealing with the public. It's very hard. Just I feel bad for people nowadays. What they have to take. People behind the cash register. I see them going into Market Basket and see what they have to go through, and I think to myself, I did that. I did that for 16 years. I did that, and I had to take all the characters that came in there, and the
but
people.
It was different, right?
Oh, it was different.
It's
But
much more sinister
characters are
tonight.
characters
Yeah.
sometimes. Not to belittle anybody, but there are a lot of strange people in this world.
No question.
Yeah.
I started
We
off
were a
the
lot less angry back in the day.
Right.
yeah.
Everyone's
That's
angry now.
that's true.
Yes.
That's
There was
true.
never that kind of animosity or anything like that. But I lived in a neighborhood that eventually, that was Italian, that after the redevelopment, once they started rebuilding, the whole neighborhood did a whole 360,
Flip-flop.
and then it turned into a Spanish neighborhood. And I got along great with them. And they lived upstairs, was 12 apartment buildings upstairs.
Wow.
And again, they were some of my best customers. And across the street, when they built all the houses across the street, it was 90% Spanish. And I got along great with them. I'd close the store at 8 o'clock at night, and I'd go jogging around the common at 9 o'clock at night. No problem. I knew everybody in the neighborhood. Not a problem.
That's wonderful.
Great times.
You know, the
Great
city,
memories.
through the years, everybody liked making fun, especially friends of mine, making fun of the city.
Right.
And it used to bug the living.
And they still do. And they still do. They still do.
There's a stigma attached to the city of Lawrence. But I have to tell you, if I could have chose where to grow up, I wouldn't have picked a different place.
Neither would have I. I would go back there in a heartbeat.
You know, there's
if
like
it was like then.
Exactly.
Yeah. I would never go back now, but I would go back if it was like then. I would.
Everything changes. Sometimes things change for the better, sometimes not.
I mean, even Mike. I mean, even but people that don't come to the feast anymore. There's a lot of people that don't come to the feast
because they're afraid.
Because I don't want to come to Lawrence.
I'm not bringing my Mercedes.
I'm not coming to Lawrence. Why? And I said to them, we in knock on wood.
How many years?
102nd year, and I've been a member for this is my 38th year, and there's never been a problem in my 38 years. I don't know about the previous 64, but there's never been a problem in my 38 years down there. And I'm not bragging, but I'm telling you, it's safe as ever. Okay, there's some cars around the corner. 2 streets over might have got broken into. Yeah, absolutely.
I remember
that
one
happens.
on Essex Street.
Yes, that happens. You could park your car anytime. It could get broken into. It's not because of the feast. I mean, we tell people to park behind the Everett Mill, and we have security back there, and just going around watching. And we pay so much for police. We overpay for police just to make sure that there's not a problem. So, and yet still people say, I'm not coming to Lawrence. And I just shake my head and say, well, you don't know what you're missing. That's all I can say.
When they first built the Lawrence High School, we were doing a fundraiser for San Alfio, and we had Michael Amante.
I remember that well.
And I had 2 friends, separate people that I knew, and both refused to take their car to bring it to the city of Lawrence and put it in the school parking lot, even though we had security out there.
Right. That's what you have.
I mean, this is the mindset.
That's the mindset. Some people,
once it's there,
it doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away. It doesn't go away.
All they do sometimes is hear something on the news. Oh, there was a stabbing in Lawrence last week. Oh, there was a fire in Lawrence last week. Oh, there was a crash in Lawrence this week. Well, that happens in every city around, everywhere.
Absolutely.
Why pinpoint Lawrence? Because you used to live there? I don't get it. And like you said, you're never going to change the mindset of some people. Never.
I mean, at first I thought this guy that was telling me I'm pretty close to him, and he said, I just got a brand new car. He said, I'm not bringing. And I thought he was joking around with me. Yeah. And he was serious.
Well, he doesn't know what he missed, because I was about a few months ago. I watched that show. I went on YouTube and I watched that show again. That was fantastic. Fantastic. I'll never forget that Michael Amante show.
I don't know if you remember the story, but when I first came into the society, and I was doing the entertainment, Gisachu, Michael Amante. Who is this Michael Amante?
Yep.
And I brought my little Bose unit with me, and I had heard him sing. I said, guys, if we bring him, you're going to want him back every year. And I don't know if you remember the story, but I took out the Bose unit and I put it on. And the whole council, which is the voting arm of the society, I mean, their mouths were open. They couldn't believe what they were hearing. And through the years, I mean, he was a huge...
The woman,
me.
And they used to ask me, is Michael coming back next year? Is Michael
they
coming?
wanted him every year.
Yeah. Can you get me tickets can you get me tickets when we used to go in the common we had some reserved seating. Can you get me tickets? As long as Michael was coming, right? Can you make sure you give me tickets? Yeah, no problem.
There was a guy that had a voice that should have made so much more of himself,
right,
on Broadway. Last week we were talking about Aaron Caruso. Amante, he had the looks, the persona,
Right.
personality, not so much. But the guy had a 4.5 octave voice. I mean, you got chills.
Right.
You got chills. And the council that year approved bringing him in. And then I don't know how many shows, because we did fundraisers with him. We brought him to Lowell one year.
Yeah.
We did it in the common shows. And then we started booking him in Boston, no matter where I brought him.
I think if you correct me if I'm wrong, I think he was on 3 or 4 times in the common. In the common. 3 times, right? Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's when we had the crowds in the common were 10,000 and up.
We'd have every cop. It was amazing.
Yeah.
We had X amount of police officers that we paid for. In the common, there'd be over 10,000 people.
Yep.
So you had to be careful, make sure there was plenty of security. But anybody that was working that night, if they were on a motorcycle, we'd have like 7 motorcycles. They weren't assigned to us. It was great.
We had the state police on horses.
On horses.
They were going around the perimeter, but during the show they'd sneak in and they listen to the show.
Hey, listen, I'm up against the break. All right. So Louis, why don't you take us out? We'll come back. And again, Wayne, I mean it sincerely. This is to me, I've wanted to do this for a lot of years. And it's a pleasure to have you on with me. And you talking and reminiscing is bringing back such vivid memories.
Yep.
All right. Why don't we go out, Lou, and we'll be back and we'll continue our little chit chat.
Absolutely.
Anybody wants to say hello? 978-659-0072. That's 978-659-0072. We'll be right back.
Ciao, this is Esther of You, Me, and Sicily. I want to talk to you about Tommy Amin and the great staff at Butcher Boy Market. Families, foodies, and home chefs come together at Butcher Boy to talk good food and create traditions. They offer the best in quality cuts of beef, pork, lamb, poultry, and restaurant-style steaks and chops. Produce? All of their produce is hand-selected to complement any meal or even to make it your main course. Their deli serves fresh roast beef, turkey, and beautiful imported Italian cold cuts, cheeses, and antipasto. And don't forget the Butcher Boy Bakery, featuring sweet delectables from all over the state, as well as their very own bakery. That's Butcher Boy, where the secret to a great steak is, of course, the steak. Located at 1077 Osgood Street in North Andover, Massachusetts, in the Butcher Boy Plaza. Ciao!
This is Tom Zappala. Located in the heart of downtown Haverhill, the Haverhill Beef Company is a full-service, old-fashioned butcher shop and meat market that continues to be a valued family tradition since 1952. Peter and Monica Carboni's Haverhill Beef offers individualized service from an outstanding selection of marinated sirloin tips, homemade sausage, marinated chicken, and thick, juicy Chairman Reserve steaks. Your family deserves the best, so call Peter at 978-374-4795 or visit their website at www.haverhillbeef.com.
When you dine at Ristorante Melisse in Amesbury, Massachusetts, you feel at home while enjoying an authentic Italian dining experience not to be forgotten. From the appetizer to dessert, you won't regret your choice. Bring your cravings and appetites. They promise you won't leave hungry or without leftovers for the next day. Takeout and catering are also available. Give them a call or visit them online for the menu, online ordering, and reservations. RistoranteMelisse.com. That's RistoranteMolise.com or call 978-388-4844. Ristorante Melisse, where you're treated like family. Legacy Care Law Firm provides estate planning and elder law services to people in the greater Merrimack Valley and southern New Hampshire areas with offices in North Andover and Woburn, Massachusetts, as well as Nashua and Salem, New Hampshire. Discussing family and financial matters with an attorney can be intimidating, but our goal is to help you prepare for the future as you preserve your legacy. We help clients qualify for government medical benefits and ensure their estates are preserved for their families so they don't need to worry about their estate being wiped out by high nursing home expenses. Legacy Care Law Firm attorneys are here to support your journey toward a more secure financial future.
At Catadella Funeral Home, we reinvest in our business to provide your family with the best facilities. It begins with a beautifully landscaped exterior, parking for 250 vehicles, and a comfortable and inviting access to our renovated interior. Funerals can be costly, so you should review and compare plans to make sure you receive services that are fairly priced. I invite you to experience the Catadella difference in cost, facility, and service.
Catadella's honoring and celebrating the lives of the people we loved, providing exceptional care since 1929.
Italian artisan cuisine combines simple, fresh ingredients with time-honored preparation to create an incredible culinary experience. At Tuscan Kitchen, located in Salem's historic Depot District, talented chefs prepare everything in-house from scratch for all to see. Guests enjoy their meal literally in our kitchen as food is prepared right in front of you. Wood ovens burn from morning till night, roasting vegetables, baking bread, and firing delightful thin-crust pizzas. Prime steaks are seared on a wood grill. A rotisserie slowly roasts marinated whole chickens and lamb, while a pasta maker creates fresh fettuccine. More than just artisan cuisine, Tuscan Kitchen features the wine bar, live entertainment, weekly wine tastings, and elegant private dining and event space. Call 603-952-4875 or visit TuscanKitchen.com to make a reservation and learn more about the culinary adventure that awaits. In Italy, cooking is an art form. Tuscan Kitchen. Experience artisan Italian.
Orthopedics Northeast and Essex Orthopedics have joined forces as Mobility Bone and Joint Institute to bring improved access and outstanding medical care. While our name has changed, our dedication to exceptional care remains the same as it has for the past 30 years. Same location, 16 Pelham Road, Salem, New Hampshire.
This is Cindy.
And Mike Kunstler,
owners and operators of Four Oaks Country Club and Grazie Italian Restaurant in Drake, Massachusetts.
Grazie Italian Restaurant is the hidden gem of the Merrimack Valley.
Why is that?
We have an incredible chef, Oscar Figueroa.
In the words of local famous chef and restaurant owner Lydia Shire,
Oscar thrives on hard work.
He is capable and gifted.
No one makes better food. Scallops, seared to perfection.
House-made ravioli with farm-fresh local corn.
And buttery, tender, lazy man's lobster, just to name a few.
You have to come experience Grazie Italian Restaurant for yourself.
Grazie Italian Restaurant, located at Four Oaks Country Club, 80 Meadow Creek Drive in Drake, Massachusetts. Hope to see you soon.
And we are back in the studio. One of my dearest friends, everybody, Wayne Peters. Wayne Peters. You know, this morning I was excited that we were going to have breakfast together over at Al's Diner. And guess who spoiled it?
I told you, if you told me he was going to be there, I would have just came right here.
Did you notice when the bill came, he had to go to the Buckhauser? How come?
No. He always says, I'll take, after you grabbed it.
Yeah.
He always says, I'll take care of it.
Yeah,
After you grabbed it.
Yes, the first movement. It's the first
He's
movement.
got that down to a science.
You know something? We were talking off the air, Louis, and I'll tell you, you were part of it. You worked in the common with us, and
God, yeah.
You kind of knew exactly what everything that was going on and the work that was involved in setting up those shows. But along the way, we had a freaking ball.
Good.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the things that went down. I mean, geez. There was one day. We came back to the church to see the three saints, and we had to be in the common because we were getting ready to set up the show, and we had a golf cart. Somebody, I think, who lent us? Ray used to get us the golf cart.
Yeah.
Ray DeFury, and so there's Tommy, me, and Louie on this one golf cart. So you couldn't get up through Common Street. The crowds were too thick, so we decided to go Essex Street. Now, at every corner on Essex Street, from the Holy Rosary Church up to the Common, there was a cop directing traffic. So he'd see us coming, and we'd be waving, and he'd stop traffic and wave us through. We're doing like 30 miles an hour on Essex Street. And then we tried to get in the Common. We hit that curbstone.
Whoa.
Tommy, I thought
he fell off.
I thought he fell off too. But it's things like that
You know,
Just
Mike, the best memory, one of the funniest, no, it wasn't really funny. One of our traditions at that time when we were in the Common, that Friday morning, we would go to breakfast first at the Cedar Crest.
Yep.
So one year, it was when, what's his name? Frankie Valli was coming. We had Frankie Valli.
big show.
Yeah. So
that manager his.
Well, this is what I'm getting at. So we leave the Cedar Crest and we says, okay, we're going to go straight to the Common. We drive in, park down. We're going to go across the stage. We're going to cross the field and go right to the stage.
Right.
Well, the manager is at the stage and he starts coming toward us and we're going towards him.
He suffered from the short man syndrome. Dean Egnator was his name. What a pain in the ass.
The first thing he said to us, there's not going to be a show tonight, guys.
That's it. Those are the first words out of his mouth.
Nice opener. Yeah.
He says, I want to have a portable power system here. You don't have enough power. I could have strangled him.
Yeah.
I had Tully was the electrician.
8:00 Friday morning. The show is at 8:00 that night.
And this is like Labor Day weekend.
Right.
Who's working the Friday before? Nobody. Now we're trying to find someone that we could get a portable unit that was quiet enough in case we did have to use it. He was such a. There was more to the story. All right. That year, we had Frankie Valli. He was doing some work for The Sopranos, Louis. He was filming 5 shows in New York for The Sopranos. And he was actually playing a part of a singer. I don't know if you knew that.
Right.
And he was supposed to come in Thursday afternoon with this group. But they ran behind and they were going to keep and try to film and finish up. They weren't going to get done till like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning in New York. So now I'm walking by the stage. We're setting up the lights. We're doing a test as soon as it got dark. And I hear this guy, Dean, my favorite. It got so bad that I turned around and I looked at him. I says, if I was you, I would get as far away from me as possible. That's how pissed off he got. Wow. So he's talking to Frankie Valli and he turns around and says, Frankie, I want to apologize, but I'm in earshot. He says, this venue is not what you're accustomed to. And I feel bad. And, I just want you to know. But when we got that 17-page document contract, the stuff that we couldn't do, we cross out. Yeah. I mean, it looked like a wash sheet. I mean, it was crossed out here. And here's this guy telling us, and we gave him what they asked for. We gave him the money, the deposit and everything. And here's this guy bad-mouthing me. Right. I could have picked him up and strangled him.
But you know what?
Me crazy.
The show was fantastic. The show people talk about.
They still talk about it.
Exactly.
That was the most people that we ever drew.
Yep. Yeah. I think it was up to 25,000. I think
that's the police department estimated 23 to 25.
Yeah.
We had that area so freaking gridlocked.
Yeah.
I mean, it was unbelievable.
That was one of the best shows.
Did you talk to him? Was he happy?
Who, Frankie Valli?
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time he was at Foxwoods, no, it wasn't him that would call me. It was my good friend, Dean. Dean would call up and say, Mike, we're going to be at Foxwoods. And, Frankie wants to know if you want to come and see our show. I got comp tickets for you. This, that, and the other. Wow. Get away from me, you little. He drove me bananas.
Yeah.
Drove me. But Frankie Valli, a couple of times after that show, I got a chance to meet him backstage. And he says, what a great time. He says, you guys did a fantastic job. Instead of his manager bad-mouthing us.
Yeah. And at that time, we got a great price compared to what he got years later, especially after doing what he did with the Sopranos and with Jersey Boys and stuff like that.
Right.
His price quadrupled after that. But we couldn't afford him.
Well, no way.
No. We
could
not afford him.
One of the most interesting entertainers that I think and most talented, in my opinion, was Neil Sedaka.
Oh.
Am I right?
You're absolutely right. Absolutely. He was probably
a gentleman.
Really.
Louis, you've met Jack Roy. Jack Roy has been in the studio. His wife joins us from Age Span Joan. And at that time, Jack used to like to drive Catadello's limo, and they would chauffeur our artists from the hotels to sound checks and airports,
Right.
and stuff like that. Well, with our show was moving, and we're getting close to showtime, and Neil Sedaka is nowhere to be found. Call Jack up. Jack, where are you? He says, I'm just leaving the Andover Inn. What the hell are you doing at the Andover Inn? He says, Neil wanted to try their food. He heard the food was very good there, and he decided he wanted to go there. So people recognized him, and they asked him to sit at the piano and play. So the guy's sitting there, playing away. Our first act is already on the stage. He's in Andover. I said, Jack, you got to get him out of there, man. One thing I was really proud of, we always started our shows. If we said 8 o'clock opening show, if we said 9 o'clock second show.
Yeah, but thanks to you. Thanks to you.
You could set your clock by it.
Louis had a schedule. 8:12, this is going to happen. And at 9:13, this is what's going to happen. And everything went according to his schedule.
Yeah.
It's just me. It's just the way I am. So anyway, Jack calls me back. He says, I'm almost there, but I'm up at a high school. I can't move. I'm gridlocked. I says, I'm going to send over 2 motorcycle cops to go get you. They jumped in their bikes, went over. They got on both sides of him. He come flying in the Common doing about 60. So he pulls up behind the stage. I open up the door. Neil, how are you? You're going on in 2 minutes. Let him to the stage. He didn't have a chance to comb his hair. I mean, he literally threw him on the stage.
And what a show he put
What
on.
a show.
What a show.
He could play every instrument. He was outstanding. I have so many nice emails from that man. It's amazing. It really was. You know, just looking back, and there's certain things in life that you're going to turn around and say, you know, that was good. That was good. And the amount of people that we met, and the amount of people, even today, that will come up to you and say, oh, my God.
Yep.
You know, I wish we could do that. But, you know, cost now is so prohibitive. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, mostly it's the artist cost have skyrocketed. I mean,
it's everything that goes with it.
Everything that goes with it, true. But starting with the artists, they're the ones that have gone way up. I mean,
well, just transportation, trying to bring people from one part of the country to another, hotel rooms, meals. I mean, you look at the contract, you'd laugh. I mean, I used to think it was a joke.
Wasn't Neil Sedaka, wasn't his contract the worst? Was it?
It was a tough one.
It was a
certain type of wine, certain type of meal, and he didn't even eat. He didn't even come to the senior.
Was it black towels? You need black towels.
Yep.
A certain type of mirror, a long mirror, and he gave the dimensions and what it had to be, and all these crazy things.
We took care of it.
Yeah, but we had everything. We accommodated everything that they wanted
within reason.
Yeah, within reason.
But everything you crossed off, you had to put your initials on it. Lucille says to me, you're not going to really send that in, are you? I says, I have to. She says, look at this. It's a mess. I says, hey, I did what I could. Yeah. That's it. End of conversation.
It's such great memories.
It drew people.
Yeah.
The guys in Boston, because we got to be pretty good friends with a lot of the different feasts and the different societies. They were shaking their heads every year saying, but me, how can you afford, how can you have these people here? You know, because now it's mostly all local.
Right.
You know, no matter where you go. If you're in Boston, most of the places it's just local bands because you just can't. It's just too cost prohibitive. And security is another, you know, that's way up there. So you got to be careful what you do. But I think it's a shame that so many Italian feasts that you and I grew up with in the North End. And I love Boston. I used to spend a lot more time in the city. And you look now, and you know, there used to be a feast almost every single weekend. One by one, Lou.
Gone. Yeah.
Gone. Procession. So you have like maybe what, 4, 5? You have, you know, the Fisherman's Feast. You got St. Anthony's, St. Joseph's, which was really a huge feast, but membership, everybody started getting old.
Yeah.
And that's what happens, you know?
Well, I mean, considering all that, what you're saying, this is 102 years for us. 102 years. And strong.
Hard to believe. How many
over-
membership? How many people?
I think we're up to 172 or 174.
That's got to be close to the high.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, we lose some people every year. We gain some people.
Well, we're getting older. What do you want? Nobody lives forever.
But I mean, the guys the young guys, we're trying to get them third generation, and they're all anxious to join because their fathers or their grandfathers are pushing them to get in to keep the tradition going in their family. But most of the newer members, they just don't have the heart that we had, because we had it growing up. We had this for even before we joined. I mean, we knew what the feast was all about. You've got to have it in here.
I see. I didn't have that in my family. We're going to talk about this when we come back. All right, Lou, why don't you take us out? Let's go to break. Let's watch some of our fantastic. How do you like our sponsors? How do you like the ads we run? If you're not hungry, there's something wrong with it. Listen, we'll be right back, everybody.
Ciao, this is Esther of You, Me, and Sicily. I want to talk to you about Tommy Amin and the great staff at Butcher Boy Market. Families, foodies, and home chefs come together at Butcher Boy to talk good food and create traditions. They offer the best in quality cuts of beef, pork, lamb, poultry, and restaurant-style steaks and chops. Produce? All of their produce is hand-selected to complement any meal or even to make it your main course. Their deli serves fresh roast beef, turkey, and beautiful imported Italian cold cuts, cheeses, and antipasto. And don't forget the Butcher Boy Bakery, featuring sweet delectables from all over the state, as well as their very own bakery. That's Butcher Boy, where the secret to a great steak is, of course, the steak. Located at 1077 Osgood Street in North Andover, Massachusetts, in the Butcher Boy Plaza. Ciao!
This is Tom Zappala. Located in the heart of downtown Haverhill, the Haverhill Beef Company is a full-service, old-fashioned butcher shop and meat market that continues to be a valued family tradition since 1952. Peter and Monica Carboni's Haverhill Beef offers individualized service from an outstanding selection of marinated sirloin tips, homemade sausage, marinated chicken, and thick, juicy Chairman Reserve steaks. Your family deserves the best, so call Peter at 978-374-4795 or visit their website at www.haverhillbeef.com.
Sisters and co-owners Antoinetta and Elisa brought their family authentic Italian recipes from Molise, Italy, and a warm and welcoming dining experience to its customers at Ristorante Molise. The combination of their meals made from natural, homemade, fresh ingredients, and your time with family and friends together at dinner time is unmatched. Located in Market Square in the heart of Amesbury, they're open for dinner Tuesday through Sunday from 3 to 9 p.m. and are available for private parties during off hours. For reservations, call them at 978-388-4844. That's 978-388-4844. Legacy Care Law Firm provides estate planning and elder law services to people in the greater Merrimack Valley and southern New Hampshire areas, with offices in North Andover and Woburn, Massachusetts, as well as Nashua and Salem, New Hampshire. Discussing family and financial matters with an attorney can be intimidating, but our goal is to help you prepare for the future as you preserve your legacy. We help clients qualify for government medical benefits and ensure their estates are preserved for their families so they don't need to worry about their estate being wiped out by high nursing home expenses. Legacy Care Law Firm attorneys are here to support your journey toward a more secure financial future.
At Catadella Funeral Home, we reinvest in our business to provide your family with the best facilities. It begins with a beautifully landscaped exterior, parking for 250 vehicles, and a comfortable and inviting access to our renovated interior. Funerals can be costly, so you should review and compare plans to make sure you receive services that are fairly priced. I invite you to experience the Catadella difference in cost, facility, and service.
Catadella's honoring and celebrating the lives of the people we loved, providing exceptional care since 1929.
Italian artisan cuisine combines simple, fresh ingredients with time-honored preparation to create an incredible culinary experience. At Tuscan Kitchen, located in Salem's historic Depot District, talented chefs prepare everything in-house from scratch for all to see. Guests enjoy their meal literally in our kitchen as food is prepared right in front of you. Wood ovens burn from morning till night, roasting vegetables, baking bread, and firing delightful thin-crust pizzas. Prime steaks are seared on a wood grill. A rotisserie slowly roasts marinated whole chickens and lamb, while a pasta maker creates fresh fettuccine. More than just artisan cuisine, Tuscan Kitchen features the wine bar, live entertainment, weekly wine tastings, and elegant private dining and event space. Call 603-952-4875 or visit TuscanKitchen.com to make a reservation and learn more about the culinary adventure that awaits. In Italy, cooking is an art form. Tuscan Kitchen. Experience artisan Italian.
Orthopedics Northeast and Essex Orthopedics have joined forces as Mobility Bone and Joint Institute to bring improved access and outstanding medical care. While our name has changed, our dedication to exceptional care remains the same as it has for the past 30 years. Same location, 16 Pelham Road, Salem, New Hampshire.
This is Cindy,
And Mike Kunstler.
owners and operators of Four Oaks Country Club and Grazie Italian Restaurant in Drake, Massachusetts.
Grazie Italian Restaurant is the hidden gem of the Merrimack Valley.
Why is that?
We have an incredible chef, Oscar Figueroa.
In the words of local famous chef and restaurant owner Lydia Shire,
Oscar thrives on hard work.
he is capable and gifted.
No one makes better food. Scallops, seared to perfection.
House-made ravioli with farm-fresh local corn.
And buttery, tender, lazy man's lobster, just to name a few.
You have to come experience Grazie Italian Restaurant for yourself.
Grazie Italian Restaurant, located at Four Oaks Country Club, 80 Meadow Creek Drive in Drake, Massachusetts. Hope to see you soon.
And we are back. Andy Parisi is saying good morning, everyone. Barbara is saying hello. And, you know, something it's good to hear from people. And like I said, you got a quick question? I mean, this is our last 10 minutes before we go. 978-659-0072. Call up, say hi to Wayne. Where's that guy Zappler? Didn't I hear him say as he was riding off into the sunset, I'm going to call up and say hello.
Usually that's a sign saying he's not going to call.
You know something? Memory serves me right. You're 100% right. You know, I love working with him on his together because I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from his sister Anna about the shows.
Right.
And it was a learning experience, especially for me. The one thing I did learn, Louis, I have a whole different respect for shows that are done outside.
Yeah.
Because it adds so much more to what has to take place. It's mind-boggling.
Right, because it throws off the acoustics.
Everything.
Everything.
I mean, you got to delay the sound. I mean, our sound system way back, early 2000 was over 18,000. Because for every 100 feet you were going back, you had to delay sound. Because the people that are down by City Hall, they'd hear nothing. It would be an echo. That's all it would be. So you have to delay it as you go, and it worked out for us. And our sound systems were.
Yeah, what I used to do is I'd start off at the stage, and then once the show started, I'd start walking, and I'd go all the way to the back where the last person was sitting.
How did it sound, Wayne?
Yeah.
How did it sound, buddy?
Yeah.
That's one thing that was important to me.
Right.
You know, at 12 o'clock when City Hall used to get out on Friday afternoons, all the staff would run across the street with their chairs. And right after where we would be set up for, our sponsors, because we had reserved seating for the sponsors, right there, they would be putting chair after chair after chair. They'd be tying them with rope, with anything. Make sure nobody touches these chairs.
As close as they can get to the stage.
Close
as they can get.
But it was just
some people used to come in the morning, early in the morning, on Friday morning.
We used to do the radio show from the stage. Remember we set up? We do the
from a picnic table in front of the stage.
Yeah. And it was always fun. And you know something, we met some really
Al Martino almost killed me in one of those shows.
Yeah.
Because all I saw was the publicity shots that were for like 1965. Then he sat down on the table next to me and it was like, you saw his real age, and it was like, holy cow.
I'll tell you, we had him a few times, and it was a gentleman that it was a pleasure to work with.
I think we had him 3 times.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
My favorite was B.J. Thomas because I get to spend most of the show with his wife.
Yeah.
We hung out during the show.
Yeah, he put on a great show too.
Yeah.
That was a great show also.
B.J. Thomas, we had the first act going on, and for some reason, we started getting raindrops. It started to like drizzle, and I'm saying, where is this coming from? There was nothing on the weather forecast.
You know, out of all the years that
We
we
never
did
got
the show,
rained
we
on.
never got rain on a Friday night.
We used to take rain insurance, Louis.
Yep.
And if we got at that time, we first started, it used to be the Lawrence Airport.
Yeah.
Then it changed. But whatever the shows were costing us, we'd take insurance for that. If we got a half an inch of rain, then we'd get reimbursed because it was a big nut,
Yep, sure.
you know.
Yeah.
But
We did it for a number of years. Right?
never
We
collected.
never collected.
All right, I got to ask or I'll get grief. Tell me the Connie Francis story.
Can I start?
It's your show.
Okay, so I had never met her before. Obviously, Mike did all the arrangements and got her right from the start.
Yep.
So when she came in, we had a white courtesy tent set up right next to the stage, and I was hanging around. I was the president at the time, and Mike says to me, "Would you like to meet Connie?" And I says, "Absolutely." He says, "Okay, follow me." We went. So the curtain was closed. So I opened up the curtain for the tent, and there was 2 ladies sitting at the far end of the tent. And I stopped dead in my tracks, and I says to Mike, "Which one is it?" I don't know I don't know. And I would never, ever have recognized her because I always saw pictures,
Publicity
shots. And when I saw her, I almost fell over, but I continued
My
walking.
Al Martino experience.
I continued
your
walking.
experience.
I continued walking. I went over. I introduced myself to her, shook her hand, and then you could take it down.
No, she was a pleasure. She, you know something, could she have done a better show? Absolutely. But singing outside after a certain age becomes problematic. When I drove down to the Performing Arts Center in Newark, New Jersey to go see her perform, she owned that crowd. Lou, she owned it. 6 standing ovation. I said to Lucille, man, I can't wait to get her in Lawrence. The people are going to go crazy. Because I grew up with her music. My granddad grew up with Connie Francis. My father. And you know something? She had some issues. Everybody's well aware of it. And it wasn't her best performance. But you know something? Just meeting her and having her, and she was very, you know, we had a contract, and she realized she didn't give us the best show, and she took it.
She stayed after the show, and she signed.
She was there for like an hour and a half.
She stayed there, and all the women and all the guys went up to her. She signed anything, talked to the people. She didn't just walk away. One of the other thing was, I think it was Jack Roy who was going in and picking up the artist at the airport. And he had told me the story. I believe it was him. And he says, I was standing there waiting at the gate, and I see somebody, one of the attendants was wheeling somebody in a wheelchair, and I believe she had some oxygen next to her. And he says, so I'm waiting and I'm looking, and I'm saying, where is she? And then to find out that was her. She came on off the airplane in a wheelchair when she had oxygen with her. This is the person that he's picking up to play in front of 20,000 people in a few hours later.
But she did a great job. But she was jumping around. I mean, I have a list of songs that the orchestra is going to play. I mean, she started off with number 1, and then she was going to number 4.
Right.
Yeah. Tommy Lamarck's looking at me. I'm looking at Tommy.
Yeah.
She was all over the place.
She was all over the place.
But, you know, if she just would have stayed on the stage and just talked to people, they would have been happy.
Yeah.
You know, but she called a shot. She left about 15 minutes early. But she reimbursed the society to her credit.
Yeah.
And there was 2 hurricanes going through Florida at that time. She showed up with 4 extra people, plus a dog. And the hotel at that time, no dog, no rooms. And I'm in the back seat of the car with her. I says, Connie, the hotel's been sold out. I have no room. She says, oh, they got to stay. I said, I can call a couple other. I want them in my hotel. I says, we'll see what we can do. So I says, you have a suite. Your cousin can sleep in your bed. There's a pull-out cot. The other cousins and his wife can sleep in that. And I'll have 2 Jersey cots brought up, and the other 2 people can stay there. As far as the dog, we're going to have to hide him. But anyway, she was, I can't say enough good things about her.
Yeah.
You know,
she was supposed to put on 2 sets. Am I right? And I think she only did 1 because she skipped so much.
She skipped 4 songs.
Yeah. And I think there was supposed to be a break in between.
No
No?
break.
Oh.
No break.
So
But
she was just 15 minutes
when
short. I thought it
we
was
were in Hollywood, Florida, I called her because she's Fort Lauderdale is where she lived, right on the Intracoastal. And I says, hey, Connie, I just want to call and say hi. I said, I'm in Florida. And, oh, where are you? I said, I'm in Hollywood. She says, tomorrow you're coming over here. We're going to have supper at my house. Of course, Lucille didn't want to have no part of it. Lucille said, I'm not going to inconvenience her. She doesn't want, she's just trying to be nice to you and get you off her back. Me, you're hurting my feelings here. But we did go, and I'll tell you, she had one addition. It was huge. Every award that she ever won was posted there. Everything. Her being on the Arthur Godfrey show. He was the first one that changed her name to Frances. And she was just a kid. I mean, Jesus.
She had in those days, she had a fabulous, fabulous voice.
You know, when we did that show at Newark to go catch it before we booked her, and Mike Church was her manager, and I sat there, I was in awe. And that night she invited about 30 people back to her hotel suite. And that's when Mike Church and I sat down and worked on a contract. And we finished it at 1:30 in the morning. But the governor was there. The mayor was there. They named the street in front of the Performing Arts Center in Newark, named that, called Connie Francis Way.
Wow.
I mean, it was quite an honor.
Yeah.
I mean, she's very well read. I met some nice people. I really, you mentioned, raindrops keep falling on my head.
The woman, the people in the audience were yelling out for her to sing certain songs, and it was great. I mean, it didn't turn out the way that we wanted, but it was still a nice show. And again, she was very gracious enough to do what she did, not only staying for an extra hour, talking to people, signing autographs.
She was there more than an hour.
Yeah, and then like she did give us a nice reimbursement back. She knew.
On the way, when she was flying in from Florida, I stopped off at Fisicelli's. So I went in to see Nina. I says, give me a container of 3 pounds of Italian cookies. So she says, who do you have at the feast this year? And, oh, my God, my mother and father. Oh, yeah. So I says, these cookies are for them. So she didn't charge me. She gave me 3 pounds of Italian cookies. So I brought them up to the suite before I headed out to the airport to go get them. And as soon as Connie walked in there, first thing she hit, Italian cookies, gone.
Of course.
I mean, she inhaled them. Inhaled them. What a nice lady. You mentioned Al Martino. Just a quick, Al Martino and F. Lee Bailey, like this, best of friends. Those two, during dinner, they would start telling stories. I had tears rolling down my. So, it was a lot of hard work. People don't realize what it took. And you do, because you were right alongside of it. And as president, I mean, how many terms did you serve? How many years? 10?
The limit is 4, but I did a 6-year term.
6 years.
Because there was a change in bylaws halfway through it. So I did 6 years as president. I've served 6 years on different people's terms as vice president. I've been feast chairman for 14 different years.
Yeah, but the best time you had was when who else was with you?
We had great times. And I think you were my feast chairman for all those years. So every year that I was president.
And it was, like I said,
The only regret that I had,
what's that?
not this had nothing to do with you. We're talking about the shows.
Yeah.
My mother, I tried so hard
She didn't go?
to get her to go. She loved Al Martino and she loved Connie Francis. I tried to get her. I says, "Mom, I'll pick you up. I'll drive you right into the car and I'll put you in the front row, right there." I could never get her to come.
What a shame.
She
What a shame.
wasn't, very mobile. But that's the only regret I have, that she was never able to come to one of those shows. Because the way I enjoyed it, I know she would have. She would have been in tears.
Absolutely. Hey, you'll never guess. We're out of time. Where does
Time went by so
you know
fast.
something? Hey,
And Tommy never called in.
well, once he said he was going to, you hit it right. Nancy DeMarco was saying hello, and it's good. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Hey, it's going to get hot, man. Take it easy. Don't overdo. Next week, my brother,
God bless him.
Dr. Robert Lomazzo is going to be, this ought to be what they call a freaking hoot. Anywho, take care, everybody. Ciao.